Hello there. I am Nikki Cameron, a holistic trauma recovery therapist and founder of Emergent Counseling and Consulting, which is a specialty practice located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm here to share with you some things to consider when you're trying to figure out how to get rid of stress in this New Year season. So, all around, you might be hearing people talking about their New Year's resolutions, plan they have for goals. But oftentimes, what we don't hear is the surge in suicidal thoughts, depression, and anxiety that often goes along with the beginning of the new year. So, I'm here to share with you some things to consider in terms of managing stress, getting rid of stress to help you figure out how you would like to navigate this new year season. The first thing I'd invite you to take into consideration is how do you know you are stressed? Like, what is that showing up as? How is it manifesting itself inside of your body and your thoughts? Once you figure out what your stress looks like, how it's showing up for you, then the second thing I invite you to take on is to consider, well, what are your stressors? What is stressing you out? What is causing you stress? Write them down on a sheet of paper, number them, and then rate them in terms of the level of intensity. 0 could represent no stress at all. 10, maximum distress. After you write these things that are stressing you out on a sheet of paper, then the next thing I would recommend is that you ask yourself, for each of the things that I'm writing out here, what am I assuming? What thoughts am I having about them? What beliefs am I generating about them? Because whatever thought you're having, whatever beliefs you're holding on to about these things that are stressing you out, they are creating chemicals in your body called emotions. And these emotions, if left unchecked and not attended to, could actually leave you feeling more anxious, more depressed, and sometimes even more suicidal. So once you've written out these beliefs and these assumptions that you're making, then now the next thing I want you to take a minute to evaluate is, well, what's my evidence? What evidence do I have to back up these things that I'm assuming about my sources of stress? Oftentimes, people will find that they have no evidence. And if you do have evidence, though, that's totally okay too. What I'm inviting you to take a look at is for each of the evidence that you have listed, what can you control about it, the situation? What can you do to change it? If these are things that you need support to change, who can you ask to support you in your efforts? Is it an organization that you can turn to, or is it a person that maybe you have trust with or rapport with that you can ask to help you problem solve these things that are creating stress? Maybe it's even time for you to consider seeking out the support of a therapist because you deserve to have a space that feels safe, supportive, and authentic enough for you to work through, problem solve these sources of stress with you. Well, what can you do to manage the feelings of stress that might be showing up inside for you? Outside now during the winter season, it's dark and a lot of people struggle with seasonal affective disorder or depression. When was the last time you went outside? During the daytime, or when was the last time you went to a park? Oftentimes, just going outside to connect to nature is the best medicine you can offer to your body and your brain. So maybe go outside early in the morning with a jacket, of course, especially if you're in Florida now, it may be a little cooler than usual. But go outside, take a walk, or just stand outside, just be. outside in the fresh air. The next thing you could do is maybe exercise, go for a walk. If you have a gym membership, that's something you could do. If you have a close friend or a colleague or a peer, maybe invite them to go for a walk with you. And the other thing you can do is journaling. Believe it or not, when we write things down, it allows us to see what's circulating inside of our thinking brain. And it allows us the opportunity to not only examine it, but sometimes we're able to see thought patterns that might be triggering a lot of the anxiety or sadness that we're experiencing. Lastly, there's good old breath work that you can do to help you regulate your nervous system to go on track, get back on track. And again, as I suggested before, you deserve to have a space that is supportive and where you can feel or have the opportunity to work through whatever it is that's stressing you out without you feeling judged. And a private space. Hopefully, these tips that I've shared with you, they'll help you in figuring out if you are stressed, what are the sources of your stress, and figure out what you can do to help you to weather this season. Until then, I invite you to please be kind to yourself because you deserve it. Take care.